Attention. Due to the nature of the films discussed, the Civil Gore podcast may contain adult language and themes.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 54 of the Civil Gore podcast. I am your host, Tim.
And this is Brian, and we have a treat today.
If you could call it that,
Yes.
maybe.
We're going to talk about GOATSUCKER.
Yeah, so we fooled you.
Yeah.
You thought we were doing a Bigfoot movie, but we pulled a fast one on you.
We did. We wanted to do something. We figured we need 3 left. We wanted to save Loch Ness, Bigfoot for the final 2. And we figured one of the other ones we wanted to do was about Chupacabra. So, and there aren't as many as you would think about Chupacabra. There's a couple that other one like Chupacabra Territory, I think came out last year. And then there was Night of the Chupacabra, but this one came up as interesting, and it had an interesting title, and a lot of people rated it pretty highly. So I'm like, Tim, look, it's on Amazon Prime for streaming for free. So
because we're cheap.
Yeah, I mean, like what? So we're like, and plus with the title GOATSUCKER, that just screams fun, something like we would review on this show. So yeah, so we reviewed that. So it'll be fun talking about that. As that will cover our Chupacabra check list off of our cryptozoological checklist that doesn't really exist.
Well, we got a pretty big first chop, so let's get right into it. All right, Brian. So I was busy watching a lot of Lost in Space recently. I'm getting prepped for the Netflix reboot that comes out April 13th. I'm really excited
I saw
about
that. Yeah, it looks really good.
And I was a big fan of Lost in Space when I was a kid, obviously watching it in syndication. And so I wanted to go back and kind of watch some of the early episodes. And it's been really fun. In fact, I watched if you go on Hulu, they have the entire series. And I didn't realize they had an unaired pilot. And Hulu actually has the unaired pilot. Oh, wow. And in that one, Dr. Smith is not even in the series. And the robot's not even in the series. It's completely almost it's a really good pilot, but it's just fascinating to see the difference between what was not aired and what eventually aired, because the original unaired pilot was just no robot, no Dr. Smith, but they're on a planet, there's Cyclops, and it's really cool. And they reuse some of that footage for later episodes, but it's kind of interesting.
I actually really liked the movie that they did some years back with Matt LeBlanc. I actually enjoyed that one too. So
it's a show that's ripe for a reboot, I think.
Yeah,
because it was the effects in it were really cheesy, but the story idea of basically a Robinson Crusoe on Mars or whatever planet is really fascinating, because you can do so much with that. So I'm looking forward to that, but. What I was getting at was I was watching a lot of TV stuff, so for some reason I got hooked on Night Gallery again, because it's also on Hulu.
That's a great show.
Yeah, and I decided to just watch it from the beginning. And now what's strange about Hulu is they do not have season 1. They've only got the season 2, 3, 4. So I had to track down the season 1 episodes kind of piecemeal through YouTube and other sources. But, man, I just forgot how good this show really is. And there's so many recognizable names. I just watched an episode with Leslie Nielsen tonight.
Oh, wow.
Tom Bosley, David Carradine from Q, which we just talked about.
Look at that. Look at how it comes full circle.
And it just almost every episode has featured some recognizable actor. In fact, there was a really great one I saw early on in season 1 about this kid that could foretell the future, and that kid was played by Clint Howard.
Oh my God, really? That's funny.
Yeah, so it was really, really neat. If you have Hulu, I would highly, highly recommend going back through and watching Night Gallery, because I just forgotten what good quality it is. Like most of the episodes, some of these anthologies, you have a lot of filler stuff that's just kind of garbage, but man, these are pretty high quality through and through, at least so far. I'm about halfway through season 2 right now.
Yeah, they used to. I don't know if they still sell it, but they did at one point. I'm talking maybe over 10 years ago. I remember they did have some box sets you could buy. It was on regular DVD. I don't know if they're still available, but that's a set I would probably want to. Oh, you know what? Yeah, it looks like Amazon still has it. Actually, wow. Okay, listen to this. You can get the complete series of Night Gallery for $19.99 right now.
Oh my gosh, I might just have to do
I know.
that.
I think I'm going to pull the trigger on this and just order it because I don't know. And it's for Prime, it's on Prime. It's free. Yeah, so normally it's $34, which is a great price anyway. Oh, it's temporarily out of stock. But if you order it now, you'll get it at this price. So actually, I'm going to do a Civil Gore first. I'm literally adding it to my cart as we speak.
See, I make Brian spend money. This is what I do.
Yeah, but that's something that, you're not going to get, that's a good price to get that at. If you can, you can grab that now while it's this cheap, that's got to do that. Wow.
Now, some of the episodes, it's kind of weird how they did their format because some of the episodes feature, 3 or 4 stories, and some of those stories are really tiny. Like some are like 5 or 6 minutes long, and then they would list those as a full episode, at least in terms of I have a TV tracker app, and it basically lists each segment as its own episode. So I would say maybe it's more fair to say 80 some segments, if you will. So I don't know how that equates in terms of actual episodes, but still, it's a sizable bit for an anthology. So yeah, that is a great price. And I'm going to jump around in the rundown here, Brian, since I had a couple more to talk about that I watched, but I wanted to kind of intersperse some of this other news. So let's talk about this awesome full-size Good Guy doll from Trick or Treat Studios.
Right. Oh, and by the way, just before we get off this topic, I did just place the order. So as soon as it comes back into stock, it will be shipped.
Nice.
But yeah, so Trick or Treat Studios is releasing a full-size Good Guy doll, which of course we know he may have started as a good guy, but he became one of the most iconic evil dolls in horror history. It's Chucky. So yeah, so I assume it's gonna come in like the full box, probably go to the 9s basically on the theming to this with the complete box and everything. And I mean, there are certain things that come around collectible wise that it's like you will just covet for your collection. This is one that I would absolutely love. And even though Child's Play was not, out of the big series was not my favorite, let's say, but still to own something like that would be so cool.
Did they list a price for this yet?
I was just going to say, I didn't remember seeing one. That doesn't mean it was not buried in there. They may have been, in the article, they may have had an estimated price. I can't imagine this cheap because, it's just, based on some of the higher end Star Wars collectibles, what they're going for, I
believe they used like original movie molds and things to craft this thing. So it's supposed to be like really screen faithful replicas. I'm sure it's not cheap. Yeah,
it would not shock me if this thing was anywhere from like $300 to $500. I could see. Then again, it depends how many they're making. Sometimes whatever the price point they're trying to hit for the certain amount they make, that could be a thing. Sometimes I could see these things being special releases where maybe if you pre-order it and buy it early, the first 100 come with something else, so we'll do some research on that though, because it's something I have on my radar. I can see myself not getting it if it's obviously nearly that. If that, I can't see myself pulling the trigger on something like that at that price.
Oh, I just found the price.
Oh, you did. How good was I? How close was I?
$500. That's
Look
the
at
entry
that.
level. $500.
Oh yeah, $500. Want to play pledge? Oh, I see. Oh wait, gets you the one disc. Oh, I see. So it's a Kickstarter thing. All right.
Yeah. Well, I will not be getting that.
No, I will not either. But I'll tell you though, I'm see. I guess I was good with the cost there that I got that. And I swear I did not look at that. I never read through that full article. So I know I posted the article that has that, but I actually had seen it somewhere else. But that one I like posting the bloody disgusting versions of the articles because they have great horror content.
Yeah, for $700 you can get one with Brad Dourif's autograph.
I thought you were gonna say with Brad Dourif. I said, "Oh, that'd be weird."
Yeah,
I don't know where to put him.
I would probably pay $700 for that.
Yeah, but where would you put him? It's hard enough. There's a life-size Chucky doll. You got to find a place to store that.
I could sleep him on the couch, maybe.
You got to store a grown man now too.
My wife probably wouldn't be real happy about it, but
yeah, I can imagine Olivia liking that too much. But
and I would make him dress like the Doc from Deadwood.
Oh yeah, see there you go. See now you
got that was one of my favorite characters he's ever done. So
yeah, it may work. I don't know. Maybe he'll clean around the house, help out. Give him some chores.
Well, I've been on a mission to kind of go back and watch some recent releases that I missed for whatever reason that were kind of hyped, and I just, for whatever reason, just skipped them. And one of those was The Blackcoat's Daughter, which I'd heard a lot about, and a very divisive movie. I heard a lot of people say it was way too slow, and then you heard some people that loved it.
And I actually bought this one, and I haven't watched it yet, but...
Well, good news for you. I did like it.
Okay,
But
that is good news.
It was not at all what I was expecting. No, I didn't know Emma Roberts was in it, for one thing.
Oh my god, I didn't either, actually.
Yeah, which was weird. I was like, how did I not know she was in it? Because she's been in all these. She was on Scream Queens, and she was in American Horror Story, so she's got a ton of horror credit.
And I think Scream 4, right? Wasn't she in that there?
She might, yeah, maybe so. But it's been so long since I've seen Scream 4. God, I don't even remember. But so I was kind of surprised that she was in it, but it was not at all what I was expecting. I'm not going to go way into plot because this movie, I had to go and read a synopsis of it after I was done just to figure out what I just watched. It was still really good. Don't get me wrong. It's very
but those I've seen movies where like that where I've enjoyed it and I'm like, but what did I watch?
Yeah, exactly. Very, very slow burn. No doubt about that. But basically, it follows various girls in a prestigious Catholic girls' school, which in a sense kind of reminded me kind of Suspiria-esque in that aspect. But very moody, very I don't want to say artsy because that has kind of a negative connotation because it doesn't really strike me as artsy for artsiness sake. It's just got a lot of moody shots and a lot of dire, somber music playing during every scene, and but it basically follows several girls. And I guess the driving point is one of the girls' parents have not come to pick her up for break, and she believes that they are dead for whatever reason.
The black coat got her.
Yeah, she has these visions and dreams that they're dead, and I can't really say any more than that without giving anything away. But it's a pretty crazy movie. Now there is one thing I can't talk about without giving anything away that I thought was a stylistic choice that probably made the movie more confusing than it needed to be.
Okay.
But take that for what it is. I can't say any more about it. But anyway.
Now, is this related to the other one, to the Green Scarf's cousin? Or is that not that completely different? Oh, completely
That's
different.
On Kickstarter.
Oh, okay.
The Green Scarf's cousin.
Okay, all right.
It's about a prestigious Lutheran boys' school.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you knew I would go there with a weird pun of wardrobes.
I still don't know what the black coat thing is. I don't know what that is.
Really? Did you at least figure out who the daughter is, though?
Kinda.
Okay.
I don't know. It's on Prime, so if you want to go see it.
I think that's one of the ones where they came up with the title first and just kept trying to piece the movie.
That sounds cool. Black coat.
Yeah.
Oh. So, Brian, you're going to a very, very exciting event. Tell us about that.
Yes, Seth and I will be going to the Retro Picture Show's 3D festival. They actually have a name for it. It's called Terror! In 3D. And it's a 35mm triple feature. With the main feature will be Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D, followed by the appropriate now for where I live, the Amityville 3D, and then Frankenstein's Bloody Terror in 3D. And they are all projected from 35mm prints, and it says the state-of-the-art 3D technology developed by Harry Guerro, which is a film archivist and owner of Garage House Pictures. So it should be really fun because I've always wanted to go to one of these, and finally was able to we got tickets, and I was gonna be in town, and Seth was willing to go, so it's gonna be a nice fun triple feature. And like I said, I'll be tweeting throughout during the intermissions and get some pictures of the lobby area. So I don't know, I've never been to this, so I don't know what they do. If maybe they have some cool old movie posters, but I will be obviously tweeting my thoughts, and maybe I'll bring Cthulhu with me. And actually, I really should bring Mini Jason with me for this one.
Yeah, do that.
So maybe so Cthulhu could stay home. He had a rough weekend anyway. He traveled all over the place.
He's probably hungover by now.
He is, yeah. He didn't fare as well as the Answer Pub as we did. He got a little drunk when I wasn't looking. He was sipping my excellent beer at the Answer Pub.
He's so small, he probably doesn't handle his liquor very well.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, and he's got all those little tentacle things over there. I think they kept getting soaked in beer, and so. he would slurp those off. Yeah, he was just a mess by the end of the night. So yeah, we'll give him a break, and I'll bring Mini Jason, who will want to go see his.
You damn mortals! I'm gonna take over this world one of these days.
And he just kept going, I'm just a Cthulhu, the whole night. So he was a little off, but.
So another thing was announced recently that I'm very, very excited about because I don't know if we've mentioned it on the show, maybe in passing.
We might have teased it, but
yeah, Brian and I are hoping this all comes together. We're planning a trip to Universal this fall to hit Halloween Horror Nights and, of course, Harry Potter World and all the whole 9 yards. We're doing it up VIP.
Yes, we were already looking into play. I got Julie is on as Tim likes to call her, the fixer. She's already been looking through the sites because they announced the packages for the event. And so I know Tim has been looking, so we're hardcore playing. And actually, we actually could announce it pretty soon if we book it, because I think if you book before June, you can possibly get a special package price. So we've been looking into that heavily. So we'll have to discuss that, try and get that. So hopefully we'll be able to announce definitively that we'll be going in within the next couple of months. So.
Yeah, so the big announcement from Halloween Horror Nights was they have announced a new Stranger Things house.
Yes.
Which Olivia was so excited for. I mean, this basically turned her from being generally excited about going to Universal to, oh my God, I cannot wait. Because she is such a huge Stranger Things fan, as am I, but she's like obsessed with it. So she was so excited to learn there was going to be a Stranger Things house. I'm sure that's going to be one she'll want to revisit multiple times while we're there. Yeah,
and it had a really, really cool teaser that they aired with the whole thing showing the bicycle in there, and it looked like and that was their first announcement. So Universal, what they'll do is once they announce their dates for Halloween Horror Nights, they really start to they really do it up in the teasing, where they'll just every so often they'll start releasing teases for the houses. And I mean, I don't think you can get a bigger, more epic announcement to start off with than Stranger Things, which is obviously one of the hottest IPs right now that they could come up with. And I'm interested because supposedly there's, I guess, what did you say? You saw 8 new houses or 7 new houses or something?
I saw a promo on one of their sites that was talking about how many new houses, and it seemed like a lot. I don't keep up with Halloween Horror Nights typically, but I got the sense that there might be a lot of new houses this year compared to previous years. So
see, they knew Civil Gore was coming.
Yeah, I'm hoping that turns out to be the case, and they've just kind of did a complete refresh this year, because Brian and I are both really hoping for an It house. I think they would be missing out if they didn't make an It house.
Oh yeah, especially. I mean, and especially because I know they've done Stephen King before, so it would not be shocking, and I could see them saving that one for right near the end, because it'd be such a big. I mean, granted, I know the sequel's not coming out till next year. But the first one was so successful that I could see them kind of this would be the year to kind of debut it. Would be amazing.
Yeah, they tend to be fairly topical with their houses. I mean, within a year or two span of a very popular IP, they typically have a house for it. So I would not be surprised at all.
Yeah, I can't wait, because now that it's fun, because Universal really starts early with these. So it'd be kind of exciting that we already got one announced already, and we're here. We're barely in the spring, It's
yeah. Well, if you think about it, we're really only 6 months away.
That's true.
Less than 6 months at this point. So yeah,
That's
Halloween's all the time when you're a horror fan. Right?
It is true. Yes. So we'll get some. And I mean, I know they've had this in the past. They've obviously had the Halloween house, the Michael Myers house, but with the remake or reboot, whatever you want to call it, they have the opportunity to do a completely, probably fresh take on it if they so choose. So that might be exciting.
Right. Now, Brian, shh, be quiet.
Oh, that's right.
I think they can hear us.
Okay, I'll be very quiet, which is hard for me.
All right, stop rattling that damn popcorn. Somebody shut that baby up. Okay, I saw A Quiet Place. So this, of course, is the...
No spoilers. No spoilers,
because Brian hasn't seen it yet. But this is, of course, the very successful horror film that came out this past weekend. I mean, surprised everybody. I think it made over $50 million.
It knocked Ready Player One out already. Out of first place.
I think it made over $50 million, and they were expecting 15 to 20.
Wow.
when they first predicted this. So yeah, that's insane. Of course, this stars Jim from The Office. That's all.
Because you just don't want to say John Krasinski. That's why.
No, but I always, somebody else was saying I can't watch this without thinking of Jim on the. I mean, he has a beard in this one, which helps.
Yeah.
But some tiny part of me kept expecting him to just turn towards the camera.
I was gonna say, does he ever do that, even in like a wink, wink, nod, nod?
No, he doesn't. And I think he directed it, right?
He did. He directed it, and it stars him and his wife, so Emily Blunt, which is pretty interesting. So
let me tell you, we had such a great time at this movie. Now, I will say I'm torn on whether you should see this in the theater or at home, because in the theater you obviously have the advantage of a great sound system. Right. So this movie is so quiet. Obviously, it's about, if you've seen the trailer, it's about a family who is basically on the run from creatures that detect you through sound. So you have to be completely quiet all the time.
Right.
And so the bulk of the movie is essentially silent. And that is great in the theater when you have the really loud speakers, because when there are noises, they make it that much more effective, right?
Right.
The other problem, though, the flip side of that is, if you see this in a crowded theater, the movie is mostly silent. So you're sitting there and all you hear is people rustling popcorn and unwrapping candy and sipping drinks, and it's
whispers
much
like,
more.
"What happened? I missed it."
Yeah, it's much more evident than it would be in a normal, Avengers movie or something, where there's so much going on that you don't hear people loudly munching popcorn. And at the same time, it was tense for me because I have a big old tub of popcorn sitting there. I'm going, I can't chew. I'm going to disturb
I heard they were
somebody.
telling people to almost be quiet throughout. This is like one of those movies where it actually being in the theater could be, if you don't get a cooperative crowd, it could end up hindering the experience.
Yeah, it was a weird. Now, we were in a very crowded theater, which did not help, because the lady beside me, I swear, I think she had like 10 candy bars and she was just opening them one after the other. It was like in Willy Wonka. I was like, she's looking for golden tickets over there or what? I mean, she's just like just peeling the wrappers off.
And then poor Tim's trying to watch it, and then all of a sudden,
oh my God, it was insane. But it didn't affect my enjoyment of the movie. I still love the movie, but I would say I want you to see it in the theater because I want you to support it, because it's a great movie and it deserves our money. But I would pick like an off time, like go at like 11:45 in the morning.
I was gonna say, maybe I'll try and do like a matinee.
That'd be perfect.
Early in the morning, like one of the first showings, because it's you tend not to get a crowd for horror movies. I mean, yes, maybe this one a lot of people be going to, but there's a lot, especially if it's a nice weekend, people are not gonna go to see a matinee. They'll go out, spend the day out, and then go see the movie at night.
Yeah, we saw it on a Saturday night late show, so I mean that's prime time for a horror movie. So. Yeah, it was probably not the best time to see it. But onto the movie itself, it's terrific. I do have some minor nitpicks, because any movie that relies on one gimmick,
right?
I call it a gimmick, not in a negative way, because it's a good gimmick.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
But any movie that relies on that, you're constantly looking for ways that gimmick breaks down. You know what I mean? You're looking for, this is the rule. Well, you broke the rule right there. Yeah. Or, you're saying this is the rule, but I see where this happened and this happened. You can't help, or at least I can't help trying to.
Well, considering we do, we almost are, kind of now like almost prone to look into movies more than we would have when we were just, watching it for fun. Right. I mean, granted, we watch it for fun, but you're right. You go in there thinking of like, all right, now how do I talk about this on the podcast? Can I say this in the podcast? Yeah.
But those are minor nitpicks aside. That was just me being over analytical. In terms of just pure enjoying the movie, it's probably one of the best PG-13 horror movies I've seen in a long time. It shows that, yes, you can make a PG-13 horror film and have it be scary and fun and not ridiculously stupid. I was just very, very impressed with the fact that they pulled it off without profanity, without nudity, without over-the-top gore, and still managed to make like a really effective, scary and entertaining horror movie. Like, this is a perfect family horror film. Perfect. Like, we saw kids, 13-year-old kids in there. So yeah, if you have like a older kid, I wouldn't take my kids to it, obviously they're too young, but if you had some older kids that are just getting into horror and stuff, man, this is a perfect opportunity, because it definitely is a family in terms of age, in terms of profanity, in terms of nudity, in terms of stuff like that. It's a perfect entry-level horror film for those that age.
That's good though that you have something like that. It's like that's where the PG-13 horror movie could be used for good. It's like it could be used for not to just to get money in by the audience, but now you can introduce your young children to horror, to get them to love horror for what it is, really should be. And then let them get like to see the crappy slashers that we may have grown up with, but.
The triple B can come later.
Yeah, let them enjoy the horror for what it is first,
But yeah, definitely recommended. Go see A Quiet Place. It deserves your money because we need to tell studios that good movies make money. You don't have to have a crappy horror movie just to suck in as much money on the opening weekend as you can.
Telling you, horror's back. It really is. It's becoming mainstream again.
I think studios are starting to realize. I was reading an article that said last year, I believe, horror films accounted for 9% of the total box office, which they said is huge. 9%, they said, is a huge return on investment for what they spent on those movies. So, but they're going to make even more money if they make good movies as opposed to, the latest Saw franchise that makes a little bit of money opening weekend,
right,
and then dies out because it sucks.
Right, and I think Halloween is going to blow everyone away. I think because that has that I don't know if there's not really a term for it, but almost like I kind of want to name it something, almost like this like collective nostalgia where even people who didn't like are too young to experience the original Halloween, kind of when it was fresh and new, and only saw the later sequels or something, but like just know that like wow. They got the original actress, there's, in there. And people are going to go see it because they know it's an event and there's going to be hype and there's going to be. So that should probably, I think that's going to just blow the roof off the box office. If I could be wrong, but I don't think I will be on this one. I think, so it's good that like, you're getting something like this to just kind of cement it in.
Yeah, I think enough time has passed because not counting the Rob Zombie, even the Rob Zombie films, Halloween 2 was 2009, so it's been almost a decade. And then the actual last real quote-unquote franchise was 2002.
Right, yeah.
So you look at, that's 16 years. It's time. It's definitely time for a comeback. So,
but yeah, and you probably could like from what I heard, you could expect a trailer probably within the next month or so. So that if they do that trailer right, you could end up sucking people in that have no idea what they're looking at. It's like just if they do it right, and I can't imagine they've been so like they've taken such good care of it up to this point that they would not have like such an epic teaser for this.
Well, speaking of Jason.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I thought you were gonna go to our last one because I was gonna when I said teaser and trailer, you were gonna. But we'll go to the Jason one. So yes, we haven't had.
I was trying to make up a funny segue. Speaking of Halloween, speaking of Jason, Friday the 13th, the game. You can now unlock emotes for completing single-player challenges.
Yeah, well, they haven't been released yet. I think that comes with this big, massive April update at the end of the month or towards the end of the month. But so I think we mentioned before the different single challenges they have. Like I know they showed some on their Facebook page where it's like they kind of recreated that scene from Part 5 where you had to fix the two guys are fixing the car, and then Jason goes up and you got to sneak up and kill them without the other guy noticing or something, whatever. You basically get little mini one-player challenges. But, originally when it was announced, that's what it was. It was everyone probably assumed it was going to be like XP points or something. But now they're saying that you can use it, you can actually unlock emotes with that, which are those funny little maneuvers they do. And one of them that they showed is you get the free Vi dance. That epic dance that she did in Friday the 13th Part 5 that everyone laughs at because it's like some weird robot spasm thing she does. Yeah.
Awesome.
Anyone that's seen it, yeah. So that and people pretty much you unlock that right away once the next update comes out. As long as you own the game, basically, you're gonna get this one. So that's gonna be cool because that's a funny dance, and now we can make Steve Cohen's character do that in the game.
Yes. And last but not least, and definitely not horror, but we're Star Wars nerds, so we're gonna mention it anyway.
Yes.
The Solo new full trailer came out, and I tell you, my opinion of this movie has grown exponentially since since it was first announced. I was really had my doubts, but
Yeah.
the last trailer looked like a lot of fun. I won't give any spoilers because there's a couple of lines in there that were kind of laugh out loud funny, but
Oh yeah.
it definitely made me feel better about this film.
Yeah, and it kind of like basically on what you've heard about it, that you really finally got a trailer that kind of captured what they were saying. You know, that was going to be this like this kind of westerny gunslinger heist kind of thing or going on, like to really get the vibe of it. And so I like that. It's weird though. It's still, even though you saw like Chewbacca in it, the trailer, and Han Solo, you know who's who when you see the Millennium Falcon, but you know, it's like it's weird. It still doesn't necessarily like feel almost like if I didn't Star Wars didn't exist and I still saw the trailer for this, I said, wow, I think I want to see this movie. So they did a really good job of getting you like hooked on the kind of like the feeling of this film. And it, you know, it's like it didn't even start off with any, you know, like I know Tim said no spoiler. I mean, this is not a big one, but it's just not going into like there's not the Star Wars music really until the very end, and it's only a hint. It's kind of got this it's like this funky kind of music, which is kind of jarring. Being, you know, if you're a huge Star Wars fan, but it works. And I have to tell you already, I think that they could not have gotten better casting than Donald Glover for young Lando Calrissian.
I can't wait.
It's like they only showed him in a couple of bits here and there, but it's like I want like a movie of just him. He was so just in the few sequences you saw, he just like oozed the Lando, you know, feeling. I
really hope Billy Dee will be back to play Lando one last time in Episode 9. I haven't heard anything about it. That would be so awesome.
He should have been in Episode 8, you know, Last Jedi. There was the perfect sequence for him. He could have been just walking through the casino and gambling. I get it. They didn't want to take away, I guess, from whatever they were trying to do in that sequence. But that would have been the scene for him. Even if they would have just had would have been a hilarious scene of them running and kind of bumping into him. And he goes, hey, look what we have here. You know, something like that would have been kind of funny. But I guess a lot of people complained about that sequence anyway, that it was too much of a diversion for the movie. I didn't. I still liked it, but yeah, I think they need somehow to have Lando in it, whether it be a 5-minute thing or, I mean, Lando was one of my favorite characters in the original trilogy. I think they need to have him somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I agree. But I'll tell you, Donald Glover, though, as young Lando, though, he's got the swagger. He's got the, he's just got the Lando vibe, and I can't wait to see more of it.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to that one now. All right, and now we have a really short dismemberment.
Wait, no, please, God. No, don't cut off my...
Okay, so like I said, Brian, this week, you know, you get these weeks that are just jammed full of stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can't, I mean, we're sitting here for like 45 minutes running down the dismemberment.
Much to Ken's dismay.
Yeah, this is one week where Ken will be happy because we only have 3 titles this week, and 2 of them are so limited you'll never get your hands on them anyway.
Yeah, you might as well just not even listen to this part of the dismemberment. Not that I want you to turn the podcast off, just go kind of look at your phone.
Yeah, so anyway, we'll try to make it as funny as possible, I guess, with what limited material we have.
What we got here, but
so these are the Blu-ray releases for April 17th. The first one up is Deep Blue Sea 2. This was released this year by Warner Brothers, directed by Darren Scott, starring Michael Beach. How apropos.
I know, right? What's next? Like Bob Shark? I mean, really? I mean, what are you
gonna? Danielle Saver?
I would say Savra. I don't know.
Savra?
But
if you're gonna be kind of common, it's just gonna be Savor. But if you're gonna be fancy, it's Savra.
Savra. Yes.
And Rob Mays, who
he's just
it's just generic. Yeah, it's just Rob Mays.
He's like, we need a normal name in here.
Yeah. A brilliant billionaire named Carl Durant is experimenting on bull sharks, which soon rebel to cause havoc for a group of scientists. I love when they do these synopses and they feel the need to put the character's name in there. Like,
I know, like we know him. Well, so I wonder what Carl Durant's been up to lately. Oh, I see here. He's experimenting on bull sharks. Now, I wonder now. Do bull sharks, is that like some guy underwater in scuba gear, like waving a red like towel, like saying "Ole"? You know? Is that experimenting? No,
experimenting on bull sharks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I love Deep Blue Sea, the first one. I remember seeing that in the theater.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, me too. I liked it.
It had one of the biggest jump scares ever, like when Samuel L. Jackson gets
Oh,
eaten.
yeah. Samuel
That was
Jackson. That's
great.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to
Yeah.
say that part, too. And actually, doesn't bull shark also sound like something like someone who doesn't curse well would say? Like, oh, bull sharks! Like...
Yeah.
I don't
To
know.
me, bull shark doesn't sound scary, though.
It doesn't.
I mean, I guess they are, but I always think great whites.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's the scary shark, but like bull sharks?
Yeah.
You know, the least scary shark to me is a nurse shark.
Was it help people? I don't know.
It sounds like it would just,
Come by in a little hat.
Like, every time somebody says nurse shark, I picture a shark with one of those little nurse hats.
Yeah, like floating
Swimming
through with like a
around.
little clipboard. Like checking out the other fish, like, man, how are you today? How are we feeling? It's like,
And then growing up around the beach, it was always like, watch out for sand sharks.
yeah.
Like they were the ones that like, I don't know. Then those I kind of imagine like they would submerge like halfway in the sand in about 6 inches of water, just like grab you.
We also want to look out for those card sharks because, then you lose a lot of money that way.
Yeah.
But,
So this one features some featurettes and deleted scenes.
and the deleted scenes were exactly what we just described when the bull shark meets the nurse shark and the card shark and that's
Yeah.
and Tim Sand shark.
And the pool shark,
yeah.
which those are sharks that swim in pools, obviously.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, this one's a direct-to-video title, so take that for what you will.
Well, yeah, wasn't it supposed to get released in the theater at one point, and then it was mired in delays and stuff like that. And then I thought it was supposed to be. Then I think it was supposed to get released on demand or something, like video on demand. And I don't know if it ever did either. I don't know what happened
Who
to
knows?
it. It just wallowed its way into our dismemberment, though.
Yeah, next up, if you are wanting a DVD that is limited to 200 copies, look out for Day of the Reaper from 1984, released by SRS Cinema. They seem to do a lot of these limited edition type things.
Yeah, and I'm sure it will be at Targets everywhere.
Yeah.
One copy each.
Directed by Tim Ritter, starring Cathy O'Hanlon,
Right?
a nice Irish girl, Patrick Foster, and Todd Nolf.
Oof.
Um,
That sounds like something like you would say when you were like just kind of hanging around with your friends and one of them just punches you in the nards unexpectedly.
Yeah.
The Todd, oof, but like,
this one, 5 women on vacation are stalked by a hooded cannibal killer in the town of Sunnyvale, Florida.
that sounds like a nice place, though. I'm sad they got ruined by a hooded cannibal killer.
Silly antics and H.G. Lewis style gore follow the survivors in this Camp Super 8 epic. And when I read H.G. Lewis, like in my mind translated that to H.G. Wells.
I read the same thing.
and I had to read it a couple times. I was going, I didn't know H.G. Wells had gore.
I know.
Did he write The Time Machine?
I know. Did someone get their hand caught in the time machine and it get chopped off and we missed it or something? Yeah, what happened?
Yeah, I read a lot of H.G. Wells back in 8th grade. I don't remember any gore. But no, H.G. Lewis, of course, is that's the Blood Feast guy.
Yeah. Okay,
And
that makes
boy,
sense.
his stuff is gory. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Oh yeah.
Jeez. For the time? Oh my gosh, yeah.
So is this actually filmed on Super 8, they're saying, I guess? Because the original Evil Dead, right? Wasn't that on
guess.
Super 8 or 16 millimeter?
Yeah.
I don't know, one of them. It was. I need to. Where Paul, if you're listening, quick call in. No.
Well, it does
Paul
have a
knows
new
this.
audio commentary, so they'll probably explain it to you in a theatrical trailer.
Tim's like, that's a return for Tim's like, I don't care to know right now. Find out later.
I'll never know because it's limited to 200
True.
copies.
True. Maybe it'll come on
Jeez.
Shudder or something.
Now, if that's too mainstream for you,
Yeah. If
Dude.
200 is too many.
oh my god, yeah,
Yeah.
if that's just so common, you might want to check out Slaughter Drive, which is limited to only 100 copies. You hipster, you.
I in fact, I think that's why they made 200 of Day of the Reaper to distract the mainstream people away from the
Yeah.
true hardcore of 100
Yeah.
copies.
So if you're a hardcore, you're going for Slaughter Drive. That was released in 2017, also by SRS Cinema, directed by Ben Deedles.
Is that Bo Deedles, like relative or anything?
I don't know.
Okay.
Starring Vincent. I was already looking ahead. See,
Yeah.
starring Vincent Bombara,
What?
Chris Crichton, and Ben Deedles
Hey, he's
again.
in his own movie.
He's in his own movie. I love this synopsis.
Yeah.
Anytime the synopsis is in all quotes, it's
Yeah.
even better. All right.
I thought you just did that, but for you, then I
No,
forgot.
that
I'm
was
like,
the-
no, Tim puts
I'll
it
tell you,
verbatim.
copy these
He
verbatim.
does.
When failed filmmaker Doug Stevenson leaves his video camera in the local park overnight, he accidentally records something horrific. To top it off, it might have something to do with his new neighbors that moved into his quiet suburban neighborhood. With the help of his bumbling teacher buddies, Doug goes on a wild ride to save himself, his friends, his ex-wife, and the entire neighborhood. Featuring a killer throwback soundtrack and splattery practical effects, find out who will stay alive on Slaughter Drive.
That sounds like the song. I bet you there's one like, "Who will stay alive on Slaughter Drive?" You know.
Yeah, I bet you there. Yeah, you know there is.
Now we have to somehow track this down just to see how close we are.
One of these days, Brian and I have threatened to do a musical episode.
We did, and don't think it's not been in the planning stages.
And we can't sing, so it's going to be really horrific.
Oh yeah, it will be unlistenable to most people. We may have to start it off with we may have to send out like beer to everybody or something. I don't know.
No, we're gonna get Tom to record a new intro.
Oh yeah.
Warning: the Civil Gore contest.
Contest. Yeah.
Jeez, I'm still thinking of Paul Blart.
Yeah.
The Civil Gore podcast may contain bad singing and adult themes.
Yeah. Oh, that is
Listener
be
discretion
brutal.
is advised.
At least you have dulcet tones. Like I am like as bad as I speak. I mean, could just imagine it put to music. It's just horrendous. Oh.
Well, it is a horror podcast. So
that is true. And we'll give you guys nightmares, I'm sure.
The problem is Brian and I love puns and we love song parodies, so we're going to be like,
yeah,
the temptation is there. It's just right in front of us.
It is.
Like,
it
we
is.
just won't do so bad.
Might have to have some guests on there that could actually sing. Maybe we can pepper them in.
Yeah.
So.
Oh gosh. Theatrical releases, we actually have a pretty packed slate, even though some of these are limited.
Yeah, go figure. I think this might be the first time ever where the theatrical releases outnumber the dismemberment.
Yeah. Well, it is Friday the 13th, so
True.
a lot of horror films try to schedule their releases for those to coincide for Friday the 13th.
That's true.
And the first one up is not really horror, but I put it in here because it does have monsters technically, and that is
and it's got The Rock. So,
The Rock. Yeah. I will definitely be seeing this one because my kids are huge Dwayne Johnson fans.
There you go.
Huge. They love Jumanji. They loved the Tooth Fairy. They loved what was the other one in? Like the
the game plan, right? I think, right? Where he was the
the game plan. There was another one he was in where it was like Journey to the Center of the Earth. Or
Oh,
something,
right.
or Mysterious Island or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Was it
one of those?
Yeah. Was he in the Race to Witch Mountain sequel? No.
Yes.
Was that it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Or not sequel, but yeah.
Yeah, they've watched all of those. They love his family movies. And, so I'm supportive of that.
He's good. He's good in his stuff. Whatever he's in, whatever they ask him to do, he does well. You got to admit that. You can't.
He's solid.
You may not like him.
Choice.
You may not like wrestling, but even if you don't like wrestling, you can't criticize Dwayne Johnson for when he goes into the thing because he's like the perfect. He acts to the point of what they need him to in each of his roles. So go figure.
And this one also has Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
There you go for horror fans.
And I love him. But this is, of course, Rampage.
Yeah.
I don't know how to.
Rampage.
Rampage. Decoupage.
Yeah.
It's based off an old video game that I used to play all the time.
Right,
actually.
which is cool enough. The fact that a classic video game that everybody has seen and played, at least, I'm sure at some point, or at least will recognize the arcade if they saw it. Know this game.
I don't know how the movie plot line, but the game featured like a giant gorilla and a giant wolf and a giant Godzilla type thing.
Well, they were all in there. From the latest trailer I saw, they have all three characters.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun.
Yeah,
I'm hoping it'll be like Jumanji level. Like
I think that's what it will be.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. So
I think it's just going to be one of those fun movies. Go in there, you're going to get blown away by crazy special effects. It's like a total popcorn movie.
Yeah,
Dwayne Johnson's perfect for that role. It's a great family film to go see. Got some monsters in there. You know what? It's a great way to get those old classic monster movies, but like mainstream for the whole family. Really?
Yeah. And the next one up is of course, another highly anticipated one from Blumhouse. Truth or Dare, starring Jeff Wadlow, starring Jeff Wadlow, directed by Jeff Wadlow, starring Lucy Hale, Tyler Posey, and Violet Bean. Now, the only hesitation I have about this one is like they really overuse that smile effect in the trailer where they like basically CGI their mouth up to look like a Joker grin type thing. But I don't know, I've never liked CGIing faces thing ever since that Soundgarden video, Black Hole Sun.
Oh yeah.
Where they did that, and I was like, why are they bringing back that old Black Hole Sun gimmick? Like, that's kind of silly, but I'm keeping an open mind because this is,
That's Blumhouse too.
The Blumhouse stuff usually fire on all cylinders. Like, I've enjoyed all their movies, so I'm gonna keep an open mind and definitely try to go check this one out.
Yeah. So this may be something this could be a first this is literally breaking news live on Civil Gore here, even though by the time you guys hear it, it'll be a week old. But Steve Cohn had just texted me that I saw come across on my Apple Watch that the Meg trailer has finally been posted online. So about that crazy prehistoric shark movie that
I actually read this book.
So apparently the trailer just dropped, according to Steve Cohn, our correspondent, who's usually big on video games.
In the film, Steve Cohn, breaking news.
It is. He literally broke the news during the podcast. That's exciting. So thank you, Steve
Cohn. I saw a screenshot of God, let me bang the microphone a little bit more because you guys just aren't distracted enough. Let me bang it a little bit more. I actually saw a screenshot of the shark like swimming under people. They showed the size of it. Like, it's way bigger than Jaws.
Nice. I know. I'm actually looking forward to this. This looks like it'll be a fun movie.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. So, on our theatrical release list, we have 3 limited releases. The first one up is called, and I'm gonna destroy this because it's a South Korean movie. So there's got some crazy names in it, but we're gonna go for it. And I'm looking forward to this one too because the Korean movies are excellent.
Yeah, this looks good.
Gunjum Haunted Asylum. So it's it's directed by Byom Sik-jong, starring Song Wook Lee, Yi Won Moon, and Ji Hyun Park. Hopefully I did those names justice, but
yeah, no, actually, you actually did pretty good actually on that.
Yeah, this one looks good. This one looks like a kind of a found footagey haunted asylum, which, God, I'm a sucker for that. And if it's Korean, I'm sure it'll have some great scares in it.
Yeah.
The Asian horror stuff I've always been a fan of.
Yeah, this one odds are to see this in the theater will probably be tough, but I'm definitely going to keep, kind of earmark this one for whenever it's released eventually on Netflix or Amazon or something.
This next one I am not looking forward to. This one is Bus Party to Hell, and I've also seen it described as Party Bus to Hell. So I don't know which it is. If it's
That's
bus
our
party
AKA
or
for the week.
Bus. Yeah. I've seen it listed as both, depending on where you go. But it's another limited release. It's directed by Rolf Konevsky, starring Sharknado perennial Tara Reid, Sadie Katz, and Devani Penn.
Speaking of Sharknado, that's the last one is coming this year. That's kind of sad.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of enjoyed those. That was fun.
It's kind of an annual tradition to sit around the old television and watch the latest Shark.
Yeah, I know. It'd be kind of sad when it's over. Yeah. But then again, nothing is ever over in horror, as you know. But they're saying this is kind of like, I think that the main cast is gonna, this is kind of like their last hurrah, so to speak. So we could just have a shark laden summer, and then they all go out in the sunset, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Sci-Fi will come up with some new franchise to replace it.
Yeah. There's got to be something with Bull Sharknado or something.
Oh, God. Here we go. Card Sharknado. Bull Sharknado.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, right?
Now, this next one I'm really looking forward to. It's only coming out in New York and L.A., so Brian, I expect you to get right on this.
Look at this cast.
Yeah, it's called Wildling. It's directed by Fritz Bohm, and it stars Liv Tyler. We were talking about, where's Liv Tyler? Oh, she's starring in this movie. And Brad Dourif, our favorite.
Yes.
In fact, he will be sleeping on my couch. I just got to scrape up $700.
You may get to see it like your own. Maybe he'll bring his the screener of it when he comes and he arrives.
And Belle Powley. So this one looked cool. I was reading a little bit about it, and I didn't put it in the rundown, unfortunately, so I don't remember what I read. But it looked interesting from what I read. So
cool. That's a good cast. That should be interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to our main feature. Now, when Brian told me about this movie, we were going back and forth, like, which Bigfoot movie do we do? What do we do? And Brian was like, well, this one looks good, Goatsucker. And I put this in, I swear to God, 2.5 minutes in, I was like, oh my God, we are not doing this movie. This is terrible.
And you have to say it like this. Wait, Tim, you gotta say it. Goatsucker.
Goatsucker.
Like they do in it.
Let me tell you, if you watch this movie, please do not turn it off within the first 5 minutes, because it's actually... I actually really enjoyed this one for some oddball reason.
No, in some way, it's enjoyable. Like, I was telling Julie, I'm like, Tim really liked that movie. She's like, the one we watched last night? And I'm like, yeah. And I said, I can't argue with it, because if you think about it, we enjoyed watching it. I mean, sure. Yeah. Can you nitpick the hell out of it? Are there continuity errors galore? Is there over the top acting? Is there like some of the most classic horror tropes ever? Yeah, but you know what though? Something about it. It's something about like what did you use the term?
Charming.
Is it
charming? There's something charming about it. But
yeah.
So this was from 2009. I believe it got. I was laughing because they said they got remastered.
Remastered from what? Like video to more video? It was not shot on video.
I don't know, but I thought that was pretty funny.
It? Yeah.
2009 is directed by Steve Hudgens, who has done a lot of indie horror.
Yeah, and
apparently.
By the way, you can see some of them. You can see the one. He does a vampire one and a one called The Creepy Doll, which I've seen constantly on Amazon Prime, scrolling through, not realizing it was his. But now I'm gonna definitely watch that. Seems like his whole group is in all these movies too.
Yeah, it stars Randy Hardesty, Kim Welsh, and Neil Vowles. I'll read you the synopsis.
By the way they got him is they said, I'd like to buy a vowel, please. And he showed up. So
I was trying to work that in. I was like, no.
Yeah, but leave it to me.
Leave it to Brian.
I'm brave with terrible puns, okay?
Speaking of letters, capitalizing on a rash of sightings of the legendary creature called El Chupacabra.
I love saying that. That's probably my favorite out of all the cryptozoological ones to say. El Chupacabra. You got to say
Chupacabra. It sounds like something you would eat, like a Mexican dessert.
It does. Like yes. That burrito was wonderful. I think I'll find out. What flavor Chupacabra do you have this evening?
Yeah. Well, they got the chocolate Chupacabras. They got the strawberry. Cookies and cream. They all look good. Spanish for the Goatsucker. A touristy hiking company creates a Goatsucker hiking tour. The pleasant hike turns into a nightmare when disturbing events cause the group to suspect that the Goatsucker may be more than just a legend.
Tim, are you here for the Goatsucker tour?
This one, okay, let's preface what you're getting into. This movie. All right. Super low budget. Like filmed with family and friends out in the woods type low budget, right? But I read a piece of trivia, because you know how Amazon Prime has the trivia button you can click?
Oh, yeah, which for some reason I knocked on the other night and I could not get it off. I finally did.
Well, they have this trivia button you could click and read trivia of the movie. And one of the trivia things was that the director, Steve Hudgens, said the key to a good monster movie is to make a good movie that would hold up even without the monster.
And thank God this one did, because the scant shots of the monster were not exactly epic.
Yeah, but when I read that, I was like, you know what? He actually pulled it off.
Oh, he did, yeah.
This movie is less about the Goatsucker and more about everything else surrounding it. And he actually made some characters that are kind of, like I said, kind of charming, kind of endearing. Everybody in this movie overacts.
Even the Reese Witherspoon clone, you know?
I can't say they over. There was actually some pretty decent performances.
No, you know what? They overacted, but in like the typical horror trope way, the way that it was acceptable.
The tone of the movie,
right?
Yeah, it fit the tone of the movie somehow. Like, and they had some like hilarious characters. They got like the nerd guy who has a crush on the really hot blonde.
Yeah.
They got the one of my favorites was you have this older lady.
Oh, God.
Who's basically a total cougar.
Yeah.
Who has the hots for the young guy in the group. And she's like coming on to
and
him
he's
constantly.
into her. You know, he's like, that I did not expect. That was the one sex scene I would not expect in that movie.
Yeah,
but...
you got the really shady tour guide. You got the boss, like the manager who created the tour. Like, he is completely over the top.
Yeah, and I swear to God, that is the outfit for every time that that type of character is in there. That like Hawaiian-y shirt, that button.
Oh yeah,
you notice that?
Yeah.
Always, it's that shirt.
But God help me, for some reason, I really had a great time watching this movie. It was never boring.
No, that's the thing. It's not. And you know what? It's like you can put there's funny like there's like some major continuity errors that you could poke fun at. Like the girl is literally like horrified. She's got all this blood on her hands, and then 2 minutes later, it's completely clean. So so you got little things like that. But you know what? Though, listen, I shot a movie. Paul can tell you when Paul comes on the show. We'll tell you because Tim has not seen it yet. We'll tell you about our little low budget horror movie, and I got news for you. You know, it's like when you see something like this, you know how hard these guys worked on it, and there was a lot of stuff. You know, and for shooting on video. They managed to do a lot of good shots actually with, you know, that like normally, you know, video can only do so much, you know, you can only hide so much on video, but they did some good shots, and there was a lot of blood in it. They managed to get a lot of blood into this thing.
Yeah.
And it was enjoyable. It's some weird way. You wouldn't think so. Like Tim said, like the first couple of minutes, you're like, oh God, what the heck did I watch? And in fact, I think I texted Tim 2 minutes into the movie. I said, oh, Tim, let me tell you, oh God, with this one. And Tim's like, oh, I can't wait. But then it should have been a good sign that, like, I don't think I texted you again until it was over.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, Tim, this would be fun to talk about. And it will be, I think. And it is.
Yeah. So briefly, the plot line is kind of your typical setup. So this shady tour outfit basically decides to do this goatsucker tour because this Chupacabra or goatsucker has been spotted in these woods. And so this group of misfits basically sign up for the tour, and they get taken out in the middle of the woods. And of course, the whole thing's to the tour guys is all a hoax. You know, they're just going to tell them some garbage about the goatsucker was sighted here and here and here, and lead these people all throughout the woods, just take their money type thing.
Yeah, but I guess it was an overnight one. They were talking about going to some cabin to stay there for a few days.
Yeah, it was like this.
They didn't seem really packed for that though. But
in fact, I think she made a comment one time about like the girl being dressed for it or whatever. Because she's in this skimpy outfit.
Yeah, and what'd they say? Like, do you have the idiot bag or something? Because I guess with the because she's wearing this typical like tiny shorts. But the funny thing is, they gave her capri pants. So if they're trying things to not get into her ankles, like ticks and everything, they still didn't manage to fix that. But that's besides.
And then basically, I don't want to give too much away because I really think people should watch this one without giving too many plot points away because there's a lot of twists and turns to this one.
That's the thing I think that surprised me. Yeah, you're right. Without saying what it was, there was enough to. Now, granted, Julie and Olivia are very similar in that way, where they seem to configure things out right before it happens. I know Tim, you've said that before, and so Julie was kind of like, I bet this is gonna happen here. I bet this is gonna happen here. I bet this, and she was right every time. But it's still fun because it's not your typical. Like when you have like a budget like that and you see this type of movie visually looking at it. It's exactly what it is, but this actually had some surprising depth to it, which was what I think maybe what kept us in it, you know?
Yeah, I like nothing better than when I watch a really, really super low budget independent horror film and I'm actually entertained because there's a lot of garbage out there. A lot.
I mean, Amazon Prime has a ton.
I mean, more often than not, whatever you watch, the pacing's terrible, the acting's terrible, the effects are terrible. There's nothing redeeming about the movie, but I love it when like something like this comes along and I actually end it. I'm going, wow, that was pretty good. Like, I actually kind of like that. Like, it had some redeeming qualities to it. I kind of liked I kind of grew attached to some of these characters along the way.
Yeah.
And some of the dialogue was hilarious. Some of the performances were really good. There's not a whole lot of monster to this movie, to be quite honest.
No.
But that.
Actually, I thought there were two monsters at one point, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Because there was one when they show the close-up and then one far distance one, I'm like, that can't be the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, in hindsight, was this the best movie to represent Chupacabra? No. Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
But
yeah.
That's in hindsight. But I'm glad that I'm really glad Brian picked this one because as far as like a low-budget indie film that was actually worth seeing, it actually fit the bill. It was pretty entertaining, I have to say.
Well, yeah, because I saw a lot of people, like, I kind of Googled, I think I said best Chupacabra films or something, and you really don't get many. But this one was on there, and it said, go to, and like a lot of people saying, oh, I'm so glad they remastered this. Oh, I had such fun watching it. All these things that I'm kind of like, huh, that seems right up me and Tim's alley. Like, that seems like that'll be fun to talk about on a podcast. So, you know what? What the heck? Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss, and this one hit. I mean, this one was fun.
Yeah. Let's talk about the actual Chupacabra, because I've read a lot about Chupacabra and the goatsucker and listened to a lot of podcasts about it and everything. So what I find utterly fascinating about this cryptid compared to like Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster and everything is the history of this thing. It was literally not reported until 1995. That's how recent this thing is, right? And what's crazy about Chupacabra compared to any other cryptid is that it's basically described as two completely different animals. So you have the original Chupacabra sighting was basically this lizard type, 3 or 4 foot high alien looking lizard creature standing on 2 legs with spines all over its back. Somebody pointed out that it looks exactly like the creature in Species. And the woman who woman who reported the Chupacabra actually had just seen Species, by the way. This is not a joke.
Oh God.
This is not a joke.
Yeah, that didn't really fare well for her credibility,
so
I guess.
The original sighting of Chupacabra has been almost completely discounted.
Did she show up with talking about it with like the ticket stub in her hand?
That's almost how this happened. So then you started getting reports, these goats have been drained of blood and livestock being killed and everything like that, right? So for years, Chupacabra was considered this, this little lizard thing or whatever. And then you start getting the North American sightings, and people started taking these coyotes with mange, or basically what they are. They're like wild dogs with mange. And you catching these sightings, and then that became the Chupacabra, the North American Chupacabra. So you basically had two completely different creatures combined under the same cryptid name. So depending on who you talk to, some people can think of Chupacabra mainly in like South America and that kind of area of the world considers it the lizard type creature, whereas in North America and out west it's more considered this coyote type creature. So it's fascinating how you could see the evolution of like a cryptozoological legend in modern times, which is basically what you're seeing. Because obviously I wasn't around when Bigfoot really took off, and there was reports of Bigfoot even before the Patterson film. Loch Ness has been around for, like, they had sightings since like the 1500s or whatever. Yeah. But now you're seeing like you actually saw the birth of a cryptid in the 90s, which is kind of fascinating. But I don't put much stock in the Chupacabra compared to, like, I would be more apt to believe in Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster than I would the Chupacabra, because it's too modern an invention, and the everything I've ever seen looks like a dead coyote with mange.
Yeah, there's actually like a 25-minute little documentary on Amazon Prime you can watch. And it shows, I assume it's supposedly real footage of someone got. It's this girl, I guess, is filming through a window, and it kind of has that like little stand-up version of it, the walking one, and they keep showing it over and over again. But I tell you, the video is hard to watch because I guess the quality of it's so bad, it literally flickering it. So anyone that seriously, and I'm not joking on this one, anyone's prone to seizures probably should not watch this.
Oh my gosh.
Because it literally was flickering. It was giving me a headache.
Jeez. I was going
to watch this through this document. Yeah, because it was driving me crazy because it was just a poor quality, so the light was flashing on and off, and it was like, I was like, oh my God, I cannot, it was like, I was struggling. It gave me a headache to watch it. It was stressing me out. But it was like, I fought through as much as I could because the documentary was really interesting, and I love when people have their, like, supposed, like, real footage of it. And it's so funny, the guy, it almost like the documentary almost starts like in the middle or something. I swear to God, like, I feel like they cut a piece off in the beginning because it's like, and the Chupacabra start, but it's kind of cool though. Anyway, I think I might try and watch the remainder of it just now that I'm going in prepared that I'm gonna get like the flickering light show in my face.
Yeah, there's a great podcast called Monster Talk, and it's a skeptical podcast. So they don't believe in these cryptozoological creatures, but they talk about them. So they have episodes on Bigfoot and Chupacabra.
So it's kind of like lore, but for that.
Yeah, and they had a great episode on Chupacabra. They had an author on that did a huge Chupacabra book that I really want to get because it goes through all the different variations of the first sightings and how which of these was debunked and all this stuff. It obviously it comes from a more skeptical point of view, but I like that because I like the folklore around it. I like the history and seeing the evolution of how these stories get out. I'll tell you another thing. It kind of reminded me when I was thinking about the coyote angle was I find way more fascinating than even the more supernatural type cryptozoological creatures. I find fascinating is the sightings of animals that were thought were extinct. Like I think that's kind of cool. Like if you ever heard about the Tasmanian tigers, which went extinct in the early 1930s. And there have been like videos and sightings of people thinking they've seen these, and I love, like, I've spent one afternoon on YouTube just like diving into all these Tasmanian tiger videos of people thinking they had seen one, which I think that's really cool because that creature did exist. We have ample
and you wouldn't think it still does.
There's another one. There's a woodpecker that supposedly went extinct that people have thought that they have seen sightings for, and there's very similar woodpeckers. So then it's like, was this the actual extinct woodpecker, or is it some slight variation species that we're misidentifying, kind of thing? So I find that whole thing fascinating. If you ever go look into, like, if you go into the rabbit hole of thylacines, which are the Tasmanian tigers, or the woodpecker, and I can't remember.
So how long, while you're looking that up, how long do you think before someone makes a spoof film like about these two stoner dudes called Chupacabras?
Oh, well, we're going to do that one too. That's on the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the
the
ivory-billed woodpecker. So this thing lived down in Arkansas, and
the way you make it sound like it moved in, you know?
Yeah. But go dig into the ivory-billed woodpecker story. It's the most fascinating thing because there have been credible sightings of this thing down in Arkansas and video footage, and there's like some people think that this thing really is really exists. Like this is like the closest we've come to like confirming a quote unquote cryptid. It's not really a cryptid, but kind of comes so close to actually seeing an extinct species like actually still alive. So it's a fascinating story. There was even as recently as I was looking at one article from 2005 where a lot of people think, due to some video footage, that this woodpecker still exists. So I don't think it has been proved conclusively. I may be wrong, but I haven't looked at it recently. But it's really cool.
This stuff is kind of cool, when you think about it, because it's like I guess our closest thing to, at some level to like a real horror movie come to, like, obviously there's obviously real horror in this world of murder, but when you get something like that, like a monster movie kind of coming to real life or so, it's kind of cool. It's like when you find like and it's literally like this creature that was thought not to exist but exists. It's really cool.
So yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Anyway, so yeah, not much more to say about Goatsucker other than it's one of those low budget indie films that's actually pretty decent for whatever reason.
Yeah, and it's on Prime for free, so you have no excuse to not watch it now.
So Brian, you came up with a perfect beer pairing, as you always do.
Yes. Yeah, this one is a Chupacabra's Pale Ale from Cucapa Brewing in Mexico. I don't know how easy this one will be to obtain. But I'm sure. I bet I did see. It's funny. There was a mixed things. I saw one thing said it was in Calabasas, California. It was brewed in, but that may be where it distributes. So maybe it might not be so hard to get. At least out in the West Coast. But anyway, so it's an American pale ale, and it's wildly hopped with fresh Cascade and Centennial hops. It says deep copper color with a lacy taupe head. Rich, creamy, dark caramel, dark chocolate, and roasted nut aromas follow through to a rich, medium, full body with layers of citrus, marmalade, and earthy hops on the long finish.
Because I'm sitting there, how do you get a pale ale out of dark caramel, dark chocolate, roasted nuts, and citrus?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, boggles my mind.
Well, here's the other thing, too. Originally, I saw it on another site, one of the beer sites, where it described it as an English ale, which sounds more accurate for this. So I'm wondering if the American Pale Ale is a stretch.
Yeah, because I would think,
and it's more of the English ale, because that sounds like an English ale.
Yeah.
So I apologize if I'm wrong on the description of this. This was I kind of double checked it. I usually go deeper into the checking on this, but I did see the American Pale Ale listed on 2 sites, but that description was only on 1. So, I mean, these are not, you can only sometimes take these for, with a grain of salt on the exact descriptions of these because, a site could be wrong sometimes where I find it from.
It sounds good, whatever. It sounds delicious.
Yeah, either way, someone should make this beer, yeah.
Wow.
I could see the Answer Pub making something this good because that's to tell you that's a podcast in itself, just talking about the beauties of the Answer Pub in Richmond. But we'll save that for another time.
Oh well. By the way, we'll get to that after the decapitation. I'm gonna throw something out there to the listeners. But anyway, 6 degrees of decapitation. So last week we asked you to connect Richard Roundtree to Richard Dreyfuss.
Yes, I'm back.
God. We're going to be sued one of these days. Oh, my gosh.
One day.
Anyway, this one's an easy one. You can do this one, too. Richard Roundtree was in An Eye for an Eye with Joe Bellin. And Joe Bellin was in the competition with Richard Dreyfuss. So.
Yes. I used to watch that movie all the time. It was always on HBO when I was a kid with Richard Dreyfuss and Amy Irving. The piano movie. Typical Richard Dreyfuss 70s, 80s fare.
So this week, we asked you to connect Randy Hardesty,
which is Wayne, the character of Wayne in Chupacabra. I'm sorry, in the Goatsucker.
Yeah, so connect him to, oh yeah, Randy Savage.
Oh yeah, you didn't think the Macho Man was gonna be on the podcast, but he is.
No, I famously dressed up as Randy Macho Man last year for Halloween.
You did, yeah, and you nailed it too.
So.
Tim nailed it.
I don't know if I want to post pictures of that because those pants I had were mighty tight fitting. Put it that way.
Yes, Tim almost snapped your Slim Jim.
Okay.
Yeah, but so connect Randy Hardesty to Randy Savage, if you will.
Yeah,
give that one a whirl.
I didn't think this could be done. It was surprisingly. I will give you a teaser. It was surprisingly done in 3.
Oh my gosh!
Go figure.
So next week, Brian, do we know what we're doing? Are we doing a?
I think we should try. I think I want to shoot for it since we have 2 left in our cryptozoological series for April. I think we should do Loch Ness next week and finish it off with the all-time cryptid Bigfoot.
Now I will say there's a highly regarded Loch Ness film by Werner Herzog, and it's called Incident at Loch Ness. I've actually watched it recently.
Yeah. That used to always be on.
Yeah, it's really good.
On cable.
I don't want to do that one just because I've seen it so recently. And I've not seen a lot of Loch Ness movies, so I'd like to see a different one. So I don't want to do that one, but I did want to toss it out there because if you guys have not seen that one, it's really good. It's basically Werner Herzog plays himself.
That's like the pseudo documentary, right?
Yeah,
like
he plays himself doing a documentary on Loch Ness, and it's really meta and it's really entertaining. So definitely check that one out.
Yeah, I think I used to see that all the time too on cable.
Yeah.
That was like one of those ones that you always seem to watch and like. Yeah, I like that one.
I think I've watched it twice after having already watched it, and like halfway through realized I had already seen it. So I've seen it tons of times.
It's enjoyable.
It's good.
Though.
It's
That's
good,
enjoyable. Yeah.
So yeah, Incident at Loch Ness, guys, go watch that one. That's your homework. But
Yes.
we're probably going to do a different Loch Ness movie. The other thing I wanted to toss out was Brian and I are itching to do another commentary.
Oh yeah.
So if you guys have a suggestion for us to do for a feature-length commentary. Preferably something that everybody can get to that's either on Netflix or Prime, something that because we want people to be able to listen along with it. So if you can come up with a movie that is kind of widely available out there, or even YouTube if it's available.
Cody had one she sent us. I gotta dug it up in the messages. She sent us one. Remember, she said that would be really funny. For that.
Yeah. So we're gonna probably plan
up.
a commentary sometime soon. Maybe we'll do that as a kind of an April-May break type thing. Or
yeah, well, I know in June I have some. We may hit some scheduling difficulties because I have a trip to California, and so I know it'll evolve there. So we may have to either record some episodes ahead of time. So we may have it. That might be a good time to kind of throw one of those in there. And then I have some relatives coming in at the end of June. So yeah, June's really kind of hectic. So we may throw something in there because it'll be right before our summer vacation starts anyway.
Well, that's going to be a doozy. Jeez.
Yeah,
just the Hellraiser alone. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. I keep saying we got to start watching it now. I think I may literally start within the next 2 weeks just so I could get it all in because it'll be tough to watch them all in with a 2-week period, especially because they're scattered amongst every streaming site known to man. At this point.
Anyway, as usual, check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, drop us a line at civilgorepodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys. Any suggestions for the show, any criticisms, send them our way.
But be nice about the criticisms, because we're very
sensitive.
We take things to heart. Yes, we don't want to.
Oh, anyway, so we're going to be out of here, guys. We'll cut a little short this week, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, and
Take it easy, Chupacabras.